there.
Whew, haven't done this in a while.
In Dolittle, we have Jip the dog.
Now everyone's gonna get to see me be a dog.
Someone's been a bad boy.
Jip, you need to stay behind and guard the queen.
Stand back, everyone, while I secure the perimeter.
Hi everyone, Vegas Film Critic here, Jeffrey Gaghan, here to review Dolittle, starring Robert Downey Jr. as the ever so famous Dr. Dolittle. Dr. Dolittle with Rex Harrison was one of my favorite films as a kid, even though as I got older and I learned that the film almost bankrupt 20th Century Fox, including Cleopatra. So they had these major bombs that went just so much over schedule and over budget that it threatened the very existence of 20th Century Fox. So and then we had the Eddie Murphy remakes, you know, where it was a contemporary comedy where he could hear the animals and he was freaking out about them, spawned a couple sequels, very funny. So now we have going back to the original concept of Dr. Dolittle where he can talk to the animals. This time it's not really a fantasy. It's kind of a crazy, manic, bizarre film about Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Dolittle, who lives behind these walls. He's a recluse in the Victorian age. He lost his wife to a sea tragedy years before, so he's cut himself off from all people and all business. And even though he's a great doctor, he's a great veterinarian, he can speak to any animal. He's called before the queen, who's dying. Okay, so this young Queen Victoria is dying, and the only place he can get this medicine is on this one island, so he goes on this sea adventure. Sounds good enough, right? But here's the problem. Lots of problems with this movie. And again, I hate trashing films. Critics have no joy in giving movies a really bad review because, you know, it has tens of thousands of man-hours go into make a movie. Nobody gets together with thousands of people and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, and say, let's make the worst movie we can. Well, they did that. They did that with Dolittle. Because all the animals, even though they're making their normal noises, the movie shows that we can hear them speak as long with Dr. Dolittle. And when they do speak, they speak in contemporary humor. All right, so when you're watching the polar bear with this like a little ski beanie going on the whole time, you know, he's using kind of popular language, you know, so it's just such a confusing message in this movie. Obviously, it's done for kids. You know, the kids are going to have fun because they can't. I don't think the animals should have talked at all, but of course they're going to turn it into a talking movie, talking animals, so the kids can enjoy it. But this is a $185 million movie. It is just so boring. And Robert Downey Jr., who's one of our greatest actors of our generation, of our time, I love him to death. His entire voice is dubbed, it's looped, or whatever technical term you want to use. I don't think he spoke a live word in that movie in one frame. And he used this weird Scottish accent. I guess he couldn't use an English accent because then that would be Sherlock Holmes. So I'm like, what is he doing with this? And he played the role so seriously, like he was a real crazy, disturbed individual who cared about nothing except his own misery, drinking himself to death behind these walls of his mansion. So it just wasn't a very inviting movie. It wasn't a warm movie. There was no fun about it. And the voyage was from hell. I'll tell you that. We end up at some island, the Tiger King, Antonio Banderas, where we have it was a Benedict Cumberbatch who does the voice of the tiger, and we have a gorilla that tags along too, who's afraid of his own shadow. So you have all these characters that are these crazy, kooky things like for little kids to laugh at, while the adults are holding their heads, going, "What is this movie?" It is literally unwatchable, and it's really bad for Universal Studios to going off Cats, one of the biggest bombs of all time, to go right into another animal movie, you know, right away with Dolittle. So it should have been more fun. It should have been lighthearted. And first of all, I didn't understand why Robert Downey Jr. did this movie, but when he's investigated more, his wife had something to do with it as one of the executive producers. So I think the Downeys had a lot to do with this movie from start to finish. He just didn't accept this role. He created this movie along with his family, maybe his production company. But I'm telling you, I tried my best to find something I liked about this movie, and it was just one of the most unwatchable bores I've ever seen. It really is. And it just pains me to say that. And I'm not alone. So this $185 million bomb is just is unwatchable. I just don't get it. I really don't get this movie. It's a mixed mash of classic film, contemporary film. It's just a mix of, it's just a mess. It's just in a blender of a mess. So I'm sure you've heard about it by now. Don't go see Dolittle. All right, for more reviews and interviews, surf on over to my website at vegasfilmcritic.com. Make sure you check me out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if you're on watching YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, give me a comment below. What did you think of Dolittle? I know you could probably write a lot, but just write a little bit, okay? I'm Jeffrey Gaghan in Las Vegas. Thank you for joining me. And it's a good thing you can't talk to the animals because you would say some four-letter words. I'll see you next time.